The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta Holiday Market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
I'm Julia Bangert. I've been working as a freelance artist for about 10 years, specializing in book illumination. And apart from that, I also work as a communications and public relations manager.
I'm Chris Stafford, and this is Art, the podcast where we get to know women from around the world of visual arts. This is Season 2, Episode 5. My guest this week is Julia Bangert, who is a book illustrator crafting handmade designs into text. Her work with the Gutenberg Society led her to combine her passion for painting with theoretical knowledge, and she worked for the Gutenberg shop in Mainz, which, among other things, reproduces individual pages from the Gutenberg Bible. Julia was born in Ludwigshafen am Rhein, Germany in 1987. Her mother, Catherine Hoffmann, is a writer and musician, and her estranged father, Oliver Streigel, a graphic designer. As a child, Juliet indulged in drawing portraits and animals, and although she enjoyed art, she decided instead to focus her studies on book science, the German language, literature, and art history at the Johannes Gutenberg University in Mainz, where she graduated with her master's degree in 2012 and a PhD in 2017. During that time, she focused on the work of Johannes Gutenberg, the German inventor and craftsman who invented the printed press. She says, "I was particularly fascinated by the transitional phase when the new technology allowed mass production of text, but the initials and decorations were still added by hand, which made each copy unique." Since 2013, Julia has been working part-time as a freelance artist, specializing in the field of book painting, and takes commissions from around the world. She lives in Eisenberg, Germany, with her husband, Stefan. Julia, welcome to Art.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I love the work that you do. I discovered your beautiful, beautiful illustrations on Instagram, and I thought I have to have you on the show to tell your story about an art form which it seems to me, Julia, is dying as an art form, to hand illustrate books like you do.
Yeah, sadly, you're right. There are not many artists that do such a thing I do anymore. But I found more on Instagram than I expected, I have to say.
Yes, what would we do without Instagram?
Yeah. Well, it's because if you illuminate a whole book that is so expensive, no one really can afford that. I'm not doing whole books. I'm just illuminating single pages that people can afford. But if it would be a whole book, it would take me so much time that it would be just too expensive. So I think that's one of the reasons why this art form isn't that much popular or dying already.
You've always been into art, haven't you, since a very early age? So tell me what it was that interested you as a child about art.
Well, I always enjoyed painting since I was a child, mostly portraits and animals. And I only came to book painting much later. it was by chance. And before that, I just loved to paint with colors and to paint what I see. I'm more one of a realistic painter, and that was what fascinated me as I was a child. I saw something and I could reproduce it on paper and mix it into something new.
Well, you certainly have combined all of those skills, of course. I'm wondering if you had any influences as a child. Tell us a little bit about growing up there in Germany and what your early interests were and influences.
Right. Well, my mother has many books and a few about book painting. So I was influenced by pictures of book illumination from the very beginning. I love to flip through such books, and she also had other ones with contemporary artists, and it was mostly about looking at pictures and at paintings from other artists throughout the time. My mother is she also loves art. She's not an artist herself, but she introduced me into that world. Mostly Renaissance painter, for example. We visited museums and exhibitions, and I didn't have a teacher or something like that. I didn't even only focused on art. I had many interests from the very beginning. I loved to read, and I think it was a combination from many different influences and things.
Your father, Oliver, he was a graphic designer, right? So there's some art on his side too.
Yeah, that's right. He still is a graphic designer, but our relationship is difficult. Let's just say we don't have any contact anymore. And so, it was difficult from the beginning. I don't feel that I learned much from him about that. I don't remember many times that we talked about art or painting or drawing. I think I could have learned many things from him, and I wish our relationship would have been better than that would have been a great source to learn from, I think.
Often as children, we choose a member of the family that we're drawn to, and it's often a grandparent, isn't it, that somehow we feel an affinity with. Did you have a grandparent or a great-grandparent that you were particularly drawn to?
I have still two grandmothers. I really love them both. And I was, as a child, I was a lot, I visit them a lot. I pretty much was the first 2 years at one of my grandmothers, the mother of my mother. We are really close. But they are not really influenced me about art. It was more about doing things together, like going into the zoo or having family fests together, and I'm really glad that they are still alive. I can't imagine a world without them both.
And of course, in Europe, you have access to so many museums and galleries. Did you visit a lot of museums and galleries when you were a child? Did your mother take you around to educate you in art?
Yeah, quite a few. But I don't specifically remember many of them. My mother took me on vacation very often to Italy, and there we love to go into the art museums because they have many great paintings from many great painters from the Renaissance, and yeah, we love to visit them. And not so much modern art. I didn't visited many exhibitions about that, but historical ones, yeah, quite a few. I love that. I love that vacations.
Which artists would you be particularly drawn to then, Julia? You know, what were the masters? I'm sure a lot of masters, Dutch, German, Italian, French. I'm wondering which you particularly liked.
Absolutely, there are quite a few. At the very top, I think it would be Leonardo da Vinci, because he wasn't just an artist. He was so much more. He had so much talent and so many interests, and I can relate to that very well. And there were others like
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So, while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta Holiday Market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Botticelli or Albrecht Dürer, and many of them from the 15th century, actually, I really like very much. Also, Hieronymus Bosch, for example. My mother has a book about the work of Hieronymus Bosch. That is really fascinating art, I think.
And of course, we have to come to, of course, your biggest inspiration, Johannes Gutenberg from the 15th century. That really seems to have been a moment in your career that really opened up your interest in book illustration. And of course, he invented the printing press, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He invented printing with movable type, and after school I had to decide what to do, and I thought about studying art, but then I decided to study book studies instead. And during my time at university, I came in touch with Johannes Gutenberg and his work and the history around it, and also with the Gutenberg Museum in Mainz. There's a whole museum about Gutenberg and his work, and there I also learned to know the International Gutenberg Society, for which I worked later, and the Gutenberg Foundation. And the Gutenberg Foundation runs the Gutenberg shop, the museum shop, and they have a special product they're selling, and that are reproductions of pages from the Gutenberg Bible. And the Gutenberg Bible, it's not only the first printed book in the Western world. So it's not only considered one of the first, but also one of the most beautiful printed books in the world. And the special thing about the Gutenberg Bible, as with most of the earliest printed books, is that the text is printed, but space was left for initials and chapter opening lines, which were inscribed or painted by hand. And that makes each copy of the Gutenberg Bible unique. And it's this time which fascinates me, where you have the break from manuscript to print, and the reproductions in the Gutenberg shop are also produced in that way. So the text is printed and the rest is completed by hand by artists. And there are also simplified versions in which the lines of the initials are printed and in reduced form and only colored by hand. But there are also the elaborate versions in which everything is designed and painted as in the original, based on the copy of the Gutenberg Bible in Berlin, with gilding and all the trimmings. And I learned about these pages as I worked for a short time for the International Gutenberg Society and was at the Frankfurt Book Fair. And there, my colleague from the Gutenberg Foundation explained all the days of the Frankfurt Book Fair, these pages to visitors and what's special about them. And after that, at the end of the book fair, I plucked up my courage and went up to her and asked her who the artists were who worked for her. And she said that she worked with several ones and asked me why I wanted to know. And I just said, well, I think I could do that too, and asked if she needed another artist. And that was a special moment, because at that moment, my theoretical interest in the early modern period and in printing and manuscripts and book painting came into contact with my love for painting. That wasn't the case before. It was just after that, then I thought, well, wow, I could combine both of these things. And I did. From then on, I started coloring these Bible pages.
And coloring beautifully. But that requires a lot of confidence to step up to her and say, no, I think I could do this. What made you so sure? Obviously, that it was a passion. You could combine all of the skills that you had. Was that the kind of person you are, Julia? Were you that confident at that time in your career?
Oh, absolutely not. I wasn't sure at all that I can do that, but I just wanted to give it a try. And I thought if I just say I can, then she gives me the chance. And no, I'm an introvert person. I always was, and I absolutely wasn't self-confident at that time. So I'm, in retrospective, I'm pretty proud of myself that I did that. I don't know what get into me that moment, but I just did it.
It certainly worked for you.
Yeah, it did. And I had another moment of this later, because I learned from the artist who was painting these pages before me. Her name was Gisela Maschmann, and I was the first artist she accepted as a successor. I'm pretty proud of that too. And she taught me to gild, or better said, she taught me her way of gilding, She was not a historian. She was a great artist, but she never did any research, and so she had developed a very own, very creative way of building that has actually nothing to do with the medieval way doing that. And after I did these pages for a while with her way of gilding, a museum called me and asked me if I could do medieval kind of gilding, because they wanted to film it for an exhibition. And well, I never have done it. And I didn't know, but I just said, yeah, I can do that. And I thought by myself, what are you doing? Why are you saying this? And I said, yeah, maybe I have a few weeks to learn. So now I have a reason to do so. That was it. I learned it, and as they come to my house to film gilding in the medieval way, it was one of the first times I really did it, and it could have been better, but it worked. It worked.
And this is gilding with gold leaf?
Yeah, with gold leaf, yes.
Well, that is an incredible art that you have. And are you teaching that now or will you at some point, Julia, so that other people can learn this skill?
I have given one workshop so far. Last year was my first time. And well, yeah, I pretty much liked it. And I'm thinking about doing another workshop and showing people how to mix their own gesso. It's the substance you need to apply before the gold leaf, and to gild with that. It's just a question of time. Well, because I have a full-time job and do painting just at the side, and I didn't have much time for anything else, sadly.
Talk a little bit more about the work that you do, your day job, when, because you're combining all these different things. Talk a little bit about that now.
Well, I changed my job last year, middle of last year. Before that, I worked for about 5 years as managing director of the International Gutenberg Society. It was my first job after my PhD thesis, and well, it was great. It was a only half-time job, so I had more time to paint, and it had a wide range of tasks. It was a good job for me, I think, because I could many different things, from administration, office work, social media, event organization, bookkeeping. I guided interns. Right at the beginning, I organized an exhibition, and I started various other projects over the course of time. And last year, I changed jobs and took over a position as communications and public relations manager at the Science and Innovation Alliance in Kaiserslautern. It's also a non-profit organization, but with completely different subjects. It's mostly a network where we bring together research and industry in the field of digital transformation and innovation. So mostly natural science.
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So, while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon, less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops, those are up. A $50 per month single line, that's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
And all the time now you're still working as a freelance artist, doing this book work. Do you see yourself ever doing the illustration work full time?
Yes, sometimes I think about that, and I really love the thought about working full time as an artist, but I'm not so sure I would like that in the long run. I always need a lot of variety in my life. I can quickly get excited about all sorts of things and always have far too many ideas of things I'd like to do, to learn and to try out. And my day would need at least 48 hours, and even that probably wouldn't be enough most of the time. Because I want to do so many things and so many different things. I'm also really excited about my day job at the moment, and so I'm not sure that's gonna happen.
So going back to the artwork itself, Julia, you referenced there the medieval style that, of course, we saw in the Gutenberg Bible. Is there a style then that you are personalizing? You are creating your own style when you're doing this, or is it an adaptation of the medieval style?
It depends on what pieces I'm working on. For the Gutenberg shop, it's mostly reproduction. So I paint exactly like it looks in the original. But when I do my free work when I do commission pieces for people on Instagram, for example, there are single letters, mostly with portraits of pets, for example, and then I just use the medieval style as a reference. I try to do, or I try to put my own style into it as well. I paint my own patterns, for example, and I vary with the forms of the letters, and I try to be a bit free with this work.
I want to talk a little bit more about this work because it is beautiful, that commissioned work. So people can go to your website, they can order their own inscriptions of their initial, one initial, two initials, and you customize it to their choices. Of course, they could add pets, as you say, or anything to that. So each one of those commissions is very individual.
Yeah, it is. I also asked for wishes about colors and patterns, and I try to do a piece that is really the piece of the customer, so that it's personal. You know, some like to tell me about their pets, how they are, what their character is like, what they like to do. Are they playful? Are they quiet? And I try to pick a photo that captures this character, this character of the pet, and I try to paint the animal so that they recognize it, so that it's really their own.
And this is all on paper, is it?
Yes. It's handmade paper, so it's a bit difficult because the surface is a bit uneven, but it's a bit. It's beautiful paper because it's not. It looks handmade with the uneven edges, and so I really like to use it.
And I've seen some of these examples that are absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
People can find out more about these, of course, by going onto your website, julia-bangert.de, and we'll have a link in the show notes so you can discover this yourself and, of course, follow Julia on social media, on Instagram, particularly on Instagram. And there's some wonderful examples of your work there. Now, apart from doing this, I know you were the only child, right? And your mother, Catherine, she also is a musician as well. And there's something you did for a little while. I could see some synergy there between your artwork and music. Do you still play the instrument? You played clarinet, I believe, in school. Do you still play?
Yes, I played the clarinet, but not anymore. It's mostly a problem of time. I really would like to do it again, but I'm not. I don't play on my own. I don't like to practice alone at home. So I would need a group, and that would require meeting every week. I would like to, but it's just not possible at the moment. But maybe I will pick it out again. I still have it here, and I really enjoy playing in the group music, and I like the thought that my painting work is influenced by it.
I was wondering if you play music whilst you're working.
I mostly listen to books or to music. Yeah, both of it.
And do you get many commissions then for books now as a freelance to illustrate whole books themselves, Julia? Is this something that you see as a specialized work that you would be doing for the foreseeable future?
I don't think so, because whole books require a lot of time. I think about how long I need for just one letter, then a whole book would take me months, I think. I didn't have any commission like this so far. I just had one customer who wanted me to color his printed book from the 16th century. That was great. How do I put it? It's working with such old books is a privilege, I think. But doing a whole book just with painting, I don't think I get such an order.
This is something you call book illumination, don't you? It's actually a design. It is a real term, illumination. It's not just a translation from German that brings light to the pages, and particularly through the use of gilding. Talk a little bit more about that, because I don't think anyone that has not seen it would understand what it is.
Yeah, it's. I'm not quite sure if it's in English the same, but in German, illumination and a book painting are similar. It's based on the Latin word illuminare, for bringing light into the pages. And I think they choose the term because of the gilding that's often done in book painting. because it's a special art form. You have to paint different if it's just an initial that has to accompany a text, and so the painting doesn't stand for its own. It has to. Also has a function as the initial or the beginning of the text, and so it's more a term, a special term for it. But you can also say book painting. I just like the word illumination because of its implication of this bringing light into the pages. And I chose the word book illumination for me because my roots are these Bible pages for the Gutenberg shop, these pages from the Gutenberg Bible, which are now sold as single artworks, single pages to hang on the wall, but they come from a book. And I think it's important to know that.
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta Holiday Market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Yes, I'm so often, and as someone who I used to have an antiquarian book business, and a lot of books would come to me, sadly broken books that had been broken for their individual pages to be framed for the illustrations. So I'm coming back to this word illumination. I think we might say illuminate or illustrate. It does come from a Latin word, so I don't want to take away from its origins there. It is so unique. It is so beautiful. I just can't imagine, in the future, losing that art form. It would be such a great shame that, there aren't generations following you that are taking up that craft. Is it something that you did when you were studying book studies as well, when you were at school in Mainz?
No, I was already finished when I started this. I never thought about doing book painting before, or painting initials before I was finished with my book study. I really just draw or painted portraits or animals.
And what's your mother's reaction to what you're doing now? Does she follow your work, and she's surprised what you're doing now, or did she think this would always be your direction in the art world?
Oh, I think she likes it pretty much. She has always been very supportive of everything I've done, and she says I'm proud of what I'm doing. So I think she just likes it, and I think she knows that I found my way with that, and I definitely will stick with that kind of art, I think.
And do you have time for any other art form? What do you do for fun, Julia?
At the moment, not that much, I have to admit. I have another account on Instagram where I showed my drawings, which I did just for fun. But the last one is, at least a year ago that I painted or draw just for myself, when I think about it.
And when you look back at the teachers that you had, what would they say about you and your work and the type of student you were and the artist that you've become? Would they be surprised?
I'm not so sure about it because the art I'm making today just fits pretty good to my kind of painting and drawing. I always was a very controlled person. Also with painting and drawing, I'm not a free painter or such, and this tiny letters with their many details that just fit very well with that. So I think they would look at it as a natural way of me realizing how I can combine my interest into one thing. My love for painting and my love for early printed books, and well, that just goes very well together.
And is most of your work in German? I know the lettering, of course, the commissions for initials could be from anywhere in the world, but do you do most of your work in German?
Most of my customers comes from the US, in fact. I have not so much German customers. I don't know why, but in the USA and in England, they are the most of my customers.
And do you like writing as such? Have you always been a writer?
Yeah, I really like to write. My mother, she is a PR editor, and she taught me how to write, how to work with text, to formulate things, and that was a great help for my doctoral thesis. And there I learned that I really like to write all kind of text. That's what I do in my day job as communications manager a lot. I write texts for all different kind of things, social media or PR texts or anything else. And I actually also like to write calligraphy. I have done a few manuscripts by now, and there are special works I really like.
Yes, I can imagine the calligraphy is a natural partner for you too.
Yeah, it just fits very well to book painting if you can also write the text to it and do a full manuscript page.
And what do you read mostly? Do you read it mostly in German or also in English?
Both. I started a few years ago with my husband to watch a TV series in English, if they are originally in English. And since then, I also started to read English books, but also German, both. I don't prefer any of it.
What type of subjects do you enjoy?
Oh, a lot of subjects. I read pretty much everything from novels to science fiction or criminal literature. I like them all. It's like I said about the job. I need this variety, these different things and different subjects, and I love to read new things as much as I love to learn new things.
I'm curious as to where you get your inspiration, which is why I'm asking these questions. Where the inspiration for your ideas, for commissions that you do, I'm wondering where you might get new inspiration and ideas, where that comes from, or is it any particular artist that you follow?
No, I think I can get my inspiration from pretty much everywhere. If I drive to work and I see a bird at the horizon, that can be as good an inspiration as a book where I have to imagine the story in my head and see pictures of what I'm reading of, or browsing through Instagram. It doesn't have to be another artist. I also watch their work too, but not a specific and not a special one.
Because you have such a wide palette of colors too in your illustrations there that are just such beautiful colors, and your combination of colors too. Normally, I don't get too technical with these conversations, but I am curious because it is so unusual to talk to an art illustrator in this genre. What a particular paint you might use to work with handmade paper?
I mostly use gouache paints. And thank you. I think these many different colors come from that I always try to do the next piece different than every other one before. I try always to do a new color combination or a new pattern, and so that it's, every time it's a new piece and I don't reproduce myself.
Yes, that's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
So what are you most looking forward to in 2024, Julia?
I'm looking forward to do many new pieces, meet many new people to talk about it, and I look forward to learn many new things, I hope.
And will you have more workshops and more teaching this year, do you think?
I hope so. I tell everyone who's asking me, I'm planning to do that. I'm trying to find the time for it. I really hope I can get around to doing that in the summer.
And if people want to find out more and contact you directly, where do you recommend they go to? Can they email you, Julia?
What they like, they can email me or they can write me a message on Instagram, what they prefer. I answer to all of them.
Okay, well, we'll have a link in the show notes accompanying this episode, so you can follow Julia on Instagram. You can check out her website with some beautiful examples of her work on both, and reach out for a workshop yourself too. Julia, this is so much fun. I just loved having discovered you and your work, so thank you for taking the time to come on the podcast.
Thank you very much. I was very honored about your question.
And if you scroll down the show notes, you'll find a link to Julia's website and to her social media. And if you're on Instagram or Facebook, you can follow the Art Podcast. Just look for the Art Podcast on Instagram. That's Art with 2 A's, and Art on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. Do leave your comments, questions, suggestions for guests. We always love to hear from you. You can also reach us via email at hollowellstudios@gmail.com. And coming up on the podcast, we're going to be hearing from the British film and TV makeup artist Kerry September, as well as the Dutch macro photographer Marit van Ecklenburg. And I promise you're going to want to hear their stories. So be sure to download, subscribe to the Art Podcast so you don't miss an episode, dropping every Tuesday at 5:30 a.m. Eastern. So I'll be back next week with another guest, and I hope you'll join me then.
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta Holiday Market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.